Well, welcome back to Bundle Builder. What we're going to do in this video is build a bundle. The basic process to be followed to build a bundle. We're going to have a new document, and you first of all need to do this. You could actually skip this for now, but I would suggest you do it probably always. And you're going to need to create a password and repeat the password. Once you've done that, you then become the bundle boss. And I'm going to enlarge this a little bit for now, but I'm going to make it full screen shortly, so it's fairly academic. In my previous video, I explained what all these panes were, but we're going to get a lot more into that in this video anyway. Now, here's my recommendation for building a bundle, and that is find all of the files that you want to include. In fact, let's find all of them bar one for now. And you can just simply drag and drop all of those files into there. So you've just got a big list of files, and then just for demonstration purposes, I left one behind. So let's add the last file this way. You could have selected all of those or any number of those, and we can just add that last file into there. So you may have rounded these files up from different folders on your computer from all over the place or wherever you might have got them. But the point is that the starting point, to my mind, and the best way to use Bundle Builder is to just drag everything in there and just get it all into the column, and you can worry about how you're going to deal with it as you progress. So the next thing I would do, and I've actually only really included this Act of Parliament to highlight the fact that if the PDF in question is more than 150 pages, then you won't get thumbnails, I'm afraid. That just is too much taxing on the memory of the computer if it's going to have to keep populating lots and lots of thumbnails. So I've put a 150 page limit on that, and so you now know that you're not going to get the thumbnails at 150 pages. So starting on to the documents, this is first of all, what is it? It's a letter, and it's a reference letter, and so you want to give it a name, which may largely be there from the file name, but it isn't necessarily. But that's a sensible name to end up in an index. And then we can specify here that it's a letter. Now it says the date is the 14th of March 24, and indeed the date is the 14th of March 24, so we'll confirm the date. And it doesn't have a time because it's a letter. An email will have a time. Other documents might have times other than emails, but a letter doesn't. So we just turn that off so that we're not tracking a time for that particular document. Now, what I've actually done here for the ET1 and the ET3 is I've just put in blank forms. So these don't have dates. And in the Employment Tribunal in the UK, that will just be called the ET1. Everyone working in the tribunal knows what an ET1 is. And you might, because at the moment you've got letter, email, photograph, but you might want to have a custom type. And I'm just going to say it's a tribunal doc. And now when I go to select a type, I can select tribunal doc. So you can put whatever custom types you like in there, depending on, it might be pay slips or medical reports or whatever it is. Let's move on to the ET3, and basically we're going through the same process here. It doesn't have a date. I probably should have put a date on, but it's not that critical at the moment. But it is a tribunal doc, so that's another document dealt with. Here we've got a chain of emails. The basic rule of thumb that I follow is that I will, whatever is at the top of the page is what I'll take as being the date of the document, because of course each email is its own document, strictly speaking. But here it's the 8th of January 9:14, 8th of January, so that is correct, and time 9:14, that is correct, and this is an email, or in this case it's a chain of emails. And in terms of what's going to go in the end up in the index, you might do something like that, and then all of that has appeared over here. Now this is an Office Access log, and you're either going to go for that time or that time, but either way you're going to go for that date, which the Bundle Builder has already identified, so you can confirm that's correct. And on a time, Bundle Builder just gave up. If ever it says 12 o'clock, it's Bundle Builder saying, I don't know what to put. So we're just going to say, following that rule that I just created a minute ago, 08:41 is the top of the list, and I've confirmed the time. So the time and the date and everything else is confirmed. Now, if there were lots of these logs or access logs or whatever, you might want to create a category for them. You don't have to. You don't have to use the categories at all, of course, but it might just be things that are useful for you. Now, this is an internal email, it says. So we're going to say it's an email, and it's 18th of Jan 1622, 18th of Jan 1622. So that's correct, and that's correct. And obviously I've got a limited number of documents in this example that I'm offering. Let's drop this down while we're here. This is a payslip. There's about 3 payslips in here, so I think what we will do is we will say payslip and create it as a thing, as a type. So it's a payslip, and the date is 29th of February. 29th of February is correct, and there is no time because a payslip doesn't have a time. And I'm just working my way down here. This is a steering group meeting minutes. 18th of October 23 is correct, and we do have times here, 2 o'clock, so 2 o'clock to 3:30, so I'm going to say 2 o'clock, and the time is confirmed. Again, I'm not going to specify a type here. Depending on what the document is, you may or may not want to specify a time. This is a sort of transcribed handwritten note. 4th of October is correct. Time 11:30. 11:30. And so time is confirmed as well. Performance management policy. Now, I probably would create here, it's a policy document. So a policy doc. So I'm going to specify that as a policy document. There is no time because it's a policy document. It didn't happen at a particular time, so we lose has time. This is a letter which is a first written warning. So you need to put your title right, which I didn't do on the last couple of documents. I'll probably go back and do that without you having to witness it. In fact, I'm going to get rid of the word letter because it's a first written warning, and we can say there that it's a letter. date, 2nd of Feb 24, 2nd of Feb 24, that's correct. It doesn't have a time. If we go up through some of these, look, I've not done this. It may well be, of course, that whatever the document, whatever the title of the document is, it may not relate at all to the title of the file, and so you just, type in the actual, what the document is. Now, curiously, this is 14th of September 22, which is correct there. It's picked the correct date, because there it says about a review date of the 14th of September 24, but at the time of the chronology of all of these events, we hadn't got to September 24 yet, so it clearly, the correct date is the approval date. I'm gonna come back and mop these up. I think you're getting the point of what I'm doing. Contract of employment, which is very often a very important document in an employment tribunal. So that might just say employment contract. The date. Now here it said it's the 15th of March 85, but it's a good example of the 15th of March 85 is actually the date of birth of the person who's contracting. And so really what it should have been finding was the 6th of January, which as it happens is also the date that is given for the signatories on the contract as well. And so here, what you want to do is, where are we going to? 6th of January 20. You can do all that with the arrows, or you can just, once the year is highlighted, you can type it in. And we're going to 6th of January, which is there. So it's now 6th of January 20, and that is confirmed. It doesn't have a time, so there is no time. We're not going to specify a type, although obviously, as I keep repeating, you can if you want. This is another one that's a pay slip. And the date is there, 31st of Jan 24. So that's correct. There is no time, and it's a pay slip. And this one is a pay slip. And 29th of March, yes, that's correct. Doesn't have a time. Tidy the title up. And then here is orders for directions from the tribunal. Now, the interesting thing on this document is, if you go down the thumbnails, you find that last page is just a blank page. And you do tend to get that from the tribunal, actually. They'll send you a blank page on the end of a letter, even if it is attached to an email. So there, you can right-click on there and delete page 4 of 4. So now we're back down to 3 pages, but we've got rid of the blank page. Order for directions, it says 19th of May, and the date there is the 19th of May, so that is correct. Oh, sorry, that is correct. And it doesn't have a time, but it is a tribunal document, and orders for directions. I'm just going to take a minute and tidy up some of those document titles that I document sort of here, where I've left all these underscores in and things. And I will, well, you won't even know I went away, but I will be back in just a moment. Okay, so you didn't even know I'd gone away, really, because I just spent a few minutes tidying up these documents and mostly getting the names correct for the index, that sort of thing. And now we're getting to the stage where we're very close to doing the magic. So what is the magic? Well, the magic, now that we've got all the dates and all the times in, is first of all to go here and sort by date ascending. So ascending is going to mean that the oldest document in here is the contract of employment, and the newest document in here is the orders for directions that have come from the tribunal. And so the next step is to then add a section above the section that we've already got, and that's what I'm going to call that section, tribunal documents. And certainly these first three, I only put this Data Protection Act in, so I had a document with a lot of pages. But we can grab those three together, and then we can just drag them up and we can put them into there. And then we can take these orders for directions and we can put them up into there as well. And really, if this were a real tribunal bundle, an employment tribunal bundle wants to start with the ET1, followed by the ET3, and then any significant orders or communications between the parties or the parties and the tribunal, and then I'll throw that Act of Parliament in after them. So now what we're left with is what I usually call the chronological documents, and there might be reasons why you might want separate sections for those as well, some of those. And so I'm going to create a new section and call it payslips, and then I'm going to take each of the payslips and put them, where are they? There's another one. If I hold down Command, I can select two of those, even though they're not next to each other. And of course, we've got March, January, February, so we can do what we did before and do data sending. And now our pay slips are all gathered together, January, February, March, in the correct order. And the one other thing that I want to put somewhere else, he said looking for it, is this one here, the HR Performance Management Policy. Again, I want to create a new section. That could be policy or policies if there was more than one, but it's a policy document, so if I double click into that, I can say that it's a policy document. So now I've got the basic shape of an employment tribunal bundle. I did mean actually to do this sooner, but it's always worth looking in the index, because if you look down all of the dates that are listed in the index and all of the times that are listed in the index, you can just check that there's no question marks still hanging around. There are no dates or times that haven't yet been confirmed by a human being. But essentially that more or less creates the same bundle that we had in the last video that I had with various other things in it. Now, something else I want to mention, if let's say I was a solicitor putting this bundle together and I wanted to share it with counsel, but I also wanted to make a few notes, and so maybe on orders for directions under tab 1, so I might want to change the name of that simply to questions. We're talking about this order for directions. All orders have been complied with. Now, that note is not going to go to counsel, even if you share this bundle builder file with counsel. But you might have other notes that you want to make on other documents that are just notes to self, as it were. Handwritten note. Have we seen the original? And so as the solicitor is putting this together, or even as the barrister who's working on it as well, you might want to make notes to self so that you can sort of make sure that you chase up any questions you've got relating to a particular document that you might want to investigate further. But in essence, that is a bundle put together, and how easy it is. The beauty of it, really, I think, is the fact that once they're all in and once you've given all of the dates and times, you just do data sending and you've got them chronologically. So there are documents that won't be chronological, and that's fine. They'll all be in one lump, and you can put those into their respective positions within the bundle. Now, I'd be very interested to know, as I think I've mentioned before, this is directed at the English courts and tribunals, and I'd be very interested to know whether whether what this does is of use to you wherever you work, if you're lawyers, and even more interested to know if there are changes that could be made that would make it more suitable for you. And I'm not saying I'll make those changes, but I would love to know what changes people would like so that I can consider whether it's possible to make them and whether I should make them. Now, of course, the other thing is this doesn't have to be used only by lawyers anyway. This can be used for all kinds of reasons why you want to put together a lot of different PDFs into one sort of bundle, one pack of documents. So feel free to use it for whatever you want to use it. It's not out as an app on the App Store yet. I do want to get feedback on these 2 videos that I've made available before I go finalising how this will be going on the App Store. But I am interested to hear whether people are interested, whether they want this application to be available, what they think of it, and whether they've got any suggestions. At the risk of sounding like Steve Jobs, I'm afraid there is one more thing I should have mentioned, so I'm going to slide it in on the end here. At the moment, this is called untitled.tr bundle, and I don't like that for a name, but not only that, it's not saved at the moment. So if I go File and I go Save, and the other way to do that is to use the command button. You can see to the right of the word save, it's got that symbol means the command button, and the S button. So I can come off there, I can do command and S, and it'll ask me where to save it, and I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it there for now. And that's something else worth mentioning. You've dragged all of these files into Bundle Builder. All of your original files are wherever they were before you dragged them into Bundle Builder, but they do now exist in Bundle Builder as a separate entity to the file that you dragged in. It's sort of copied all of those files and put it into Bundle Builder. So in terms of how you should think where the files are, this is no longer the file that you dragged in, but it is a copy of the file that you dragged in, and it's inside Bundle Builder. So when you share the Bundle Builder file through the cloud, that is actually sharing all of the files as part of a Bundle Builder file, if that makes enough sense. I won't get deeper into that because it gets complicated. Thanks very much for your time, and hopefully you'll be able to get Bundle Builder quite soon if you do want it.